What's up, everybody? Today we got a live with my boy Obes, so I'm looking forward to this conversation. We'll just give everybody a sec to join. What's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all joining. My boy Fred. What up, Erwin? Erwin, we need you to do one of these, bro. With you? Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you would. Kenya, good to see you. There's Obes. Stacy, there's Ralphie. Obes, go ahead and hit that the camera button, and I can bring you in. Or I can request you. Either way. You hear your guy, Stace. All right, Erwin, I see you. You on the clock, though, my brother. All right, Kenya, I will. I sure will. My dog.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How are you?
Tired. I'm tired.
Full day, a lot of campaign stuff or just work stuff? Where we at?
I give it's like all of the above. Every day is campaign stuff. We do at least 2 hours of what's called call time every day. So call time is, you get on your phone, you start calling people either for money or for votes. Right now it's for money.
Yeah.
Um, and then I went over to Commissioner Rodney Ellis's office. They had a movie screening.
Mm.
Um, because I think today, or at least this year, is the 35th anniversary of essentially you know what is it?
I'm gonna look it up.
The American Disabilities Act. That's what it is.
Mm, that's what's up. Okay.
Yeah.
And was Houston like influential in that in any way?
I'm not really sure, but Commissioner Ellis is the type of person that if he can push something like that to the forefront, he will. So, and he wasn't even there. He's in Chicago. There's a
Mm,
big convention that he's at right now. But he
cool.
made his office available and they had a screening of that movie, so it's pretty cool.
That's fire, bro. Was it good?
Yeah, it was so the movie is called Crip Camp. So what it is there was like a camp that started in the 70s that catered to kids that have disabilities, those visible and invisible disabilities. So it's like it was really cool. It's like there's all this like, old like footage of
Yeah.
these kids that are, otherwise like pushed out of the spotlight in society that get to just be like normal kids at summer camp.
Mm, that's fire. You said it's called Crip Camp.
Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all, let's make sure we support that. Uh,
Like as far as I can tell, like it's on Netflix.
oh, already.
Yeah.
Was it already on Netflix? Maybe I've already watched it. Like, was that? But I thought I watched something like that like a year ago, though. I ain't gonna lie. So I was like, maybe it's something separate.
It might be. I don't know. But like
Okay.
they played it and like the Netflix thing came up and I was like, okay, sure.
Boom.
Yeah, exactly,
You're like,
exactly.
oh shit, okay, Netflix. Well, cool, man. So before we jump into, you, I like to start off well, not everyone, but I do like to create space and hold space for Black brands that I actually support and love. And today is no different. Today I'm celebrating my boy Chef Boudreaux. My man had a grand opening for his new smash burger spot on Navigation. It's fire, called Boo's Burgers. Boo's Burgers. So if you are a burger fan, if you're in the Houston area, if you like anything related to burgers. I think they got like a vegan option too. Definitely check it out. I checked it out in the grand opening. Waited in the line. You know what I'm saying? Waited in the line. It was still worth it though. You know what I'm saying? And he's frat. So shout out to Chef Boudreaux. Shout out to Boo. Like that. It's a really good dude. So let's just make sure we support him. Had you heard of it or been there
Oh
yet?
yeah. Oh
Oops.
yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the brick and mortar, but
Yeah.
I've been to all the when we used to do the pop-ups. I always went to the
Yeah.
pop-ups. I've waited in line, even though I ordered ahead. I still waited in line.
You're right. Right. I know. Yeah. Same, brother. Same. But nah, I'm just really happy for him. That's not a small accomplishment to open up a brick and mortar. And we all know, we hear kind of, the success rate of restaurants and how it can be low, but I really got a good feeling about this one because it's rooted in the community. He's a good dude, and I don't know. I think stuff like that is not gonna ever fail. So we'll try to make sure that we do our part and support him at least.
Oh yeah, plus like those burgers are just fire. Those have got to
So
be
fire.
like at worst top three burgers in Houston. At worst.
Absolutely, I'm with you on that. Well, cool. So yeah, like if y'all are here for the first time, I mean, I do these lives to allow you to have a chance to meet a new person or, see another side of someone you already know, right? And it's just a really good time to have some uninterrupted time to have a relevant conversation, especially if you're looking for someone, right? I started a new series called Perspectives, which is less about, trying to find your person, but this one is more so like, all right, we're going to get into the 9 areas of compatibility. And then I'm going to, talk about some of the results that I saw from, Obes's questionnaire. But I really just wanted to be a dialogue. And I asked people ahead of time if they had any questions to submit them. I have some questions, but I really want to get his perspective too, because I value it. So essentially, this is just a time for him to just share and showcase what like a partnership might look like from his perspective, as well as women, you can sit there and self-assess if like, you're a possible fit for Obes. And if you are, reach out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to, pull them in. But again, this isn't Kevin Samuels. This isn't Kendra GF, whatever. Like this is an opportunity for us to have like a real conversation, like as adults. So why don't we jump into it? I'll start with his intro. Okay. So tonight's guest isn't just intentional in love, he's intentional in life. Obes is a Houston based professional and community leader who's also running for city council position forward, by the way. He probably wants your vote. But long before stepping into politics, he's been already serving the city, whether that's through organizing neighborhood cleanups or mentoring youth or launching healthcare transportation programs that really help real families get medical appointments and get to those medical appointments. He's the kind of man who doesn't just talk about solutions; he wants to build them. So whether it's connecting underserved communities to resources or bringing people together through arts and service, you know, Obes has made his life about showing up. That's why I'm not surprised that he showed up here when I asked him. And let me make that clear. I asked him, like, I want to make that clear actually. Like, people who you see on this show, like, aren't desperate or like hurt to try to find someone. I think it's about vetting. And this is just a good way for us to kind of match attraction and compatibility, right? So I want you all to watch this and it's just think of it as a really cool opportunity to kind of be a fly on the wall in one of my one-on-ones that I normally do privately. So I just wanted to make that clear. Back to his intro. So in his questionnaire, I saw that he's been single for the past 3 years and he's really been doing the inner work, right? And now he's ready to show up with love with that same energy as he shows up professionally, right? Hands on, growth oriented. He's ready to build something meaningful. So he's clear on what he wants. He's emotionally available, and he's looking for a woman who can meet him not just in attraction, but in purpose. So with that, I want to welcome my boy Obes to the Well Match Live. Welcome, my brother. How'd I do?
It sounds very impressive listening to it.
It's you, bro.
Thank
Trying to get like you. How every black man says, trying to get like you, bro.
Yeah, fair. That's true. That's true. We do be saying that.
Hmm.
But yeah, man,
Cool.
it's yeah, I appreciate it. It's a great intro. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So before we get into the 9 compatibility areas, I want to just maybe give you an opportunity to kind of like talk about your upbringing and like the family dynamic that shaped the values and the way you love today. So like tell us about what it was like young Obes. Like tell us about, your family structure. If you have any siblings, like we're interested.
Yeah, so both of my parents are immigrants, right? So I have a refu My dad's a former refugee. My mom's an immigrant. Both are from Nigeria. So they came over at, relatively young ages. My dad when he was 12, my mom when she was 20. Um, so they So they've spent the majority of their lives here in the United States. I have two younger brothers. We're all originally from Delaware. Um,
Mm,
we all live in Texas now. So one of my brothers lives in Seattle, but the rest of us are here in the Houston area. And growing up, it was a house full of love, honestly. So like my dad traveled a lot for work, but he could call every day, multiple
mm,
times a day. And like even when he was in town, like I remember during like the summer months, like he would call the house like two or three times, talk to me, talk to my brother, talk to my mom. He's like always like he's like a very, very, very present father. And then like my mom, when my dad wasn't there, she always made sure that we always got to our activities, that everything in the house was always in order. And she was very much she like took it upon herself to make sure that we were like well adjusted and like good
mm.
kids and like we become men that could like do for themselves. So I remember from the time I was like tall enough to see like over the counter, my mom like had me cleaning, right? Like I was doing my own laundry, I was cooking, like, I was doing all the things.
Yeah.
Um, of course, like the laundry and cooking thing, I brought that on myself. I remember when I was like 7, I was it was summer. I remember both parents were in the house and one of my mom's sisters was in the house, and I was hungry. And I remember I went to each adult, all three of them. I said, "Hey, can you make me some food?" They're like, "Oh, I'm busy. I'll get back to you." I remember sitting there. I was like, if I could cook, I wouldn't have to wait for anybody to make me food. I could just make it myself. So so I went to them. I went to my parents later that day, and I was like, "Hey, can you teach me how to cook?" They sort of looked at me like, what? What did the 7-year-old just say? But I was like, yeah, can you teach me how to cook? And they taught me how to make eggs.
Mm.
They just kept buying eggs all summer. I was making eggs like every day. And like
That's
for
funny.
people that don't know, I do not right now because I'm running for office, but like I do like a monthly dinner party that I host at my apartment.
Okay.
And like I make all the food. Like I have you can't see it. There's like a big wine fridge sitting next to me. And so
Mm.
like I make all the food, I serve wine. It's just a great time. I have like, sort of like the who's who of the Houston Harris County political scene over here. But all of that started from then and like being in a house where like I felt like I could just do stuff. So yeah, so it all started from that.
I love that. Started with eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, so like, did you start off with scrambled? Did you start off with boiled? Like, what was it like? What was the first eggs that you mastered?
The first
And
ones I
where are you at
mastered
right now? Like, where's your favorite way to make them? Don't say fertilize, bro. Grow up.
I don't have any kids, so no, it's not.
Okay, yeah.
No, it started with scrambled eggs. So I was making
Okay.
scrambled eggs, and that was like the easiest thing for like a 7-year-old to make. And it all went, relatively problem free until one time, just so I was still a kid, right? So the thing that you should do when you make eggs or make anything, you take it out of the pan, you take the pan to the plate, right?
Mm.
You don't take the food from the
Egg.
pan all over here. So I could have taken the plate to the pan. I could have taken the pan to the plate. Instead, I take the spatula, take the eggs off the pan, and I'm thinking, okay, let me walk it over to the plate, and it slips off the spatula. And like the stove that we had was like the old school with the coils.
Yeah.
So if like I turned the heat off, but the coils are still hot. So like the
Yeah.
eggs fall off the spatula onto the coils, and just smoke fills the kitchen. Now, thankfully, my aunt was like walking back into the kitchen to check on me, like as that happened.
Yeah.
Because it's like she was like, "Oh no!" She opened up the doors, opened the windows. Like it was very quick to get all the smoke out and everything. But I just remember it was like, and she looked at me. She goes, "What do you do next time?" I was like, "Take the pen." She's like, "Yes, there you go."
That's what I
But
was going to ask you. You probably learned a valuable lesson. That's what
oh,
it's all
big time,
about.
big
Yeah.
time. As for the way I make eggs now, I will make them like over medium, over medium, and like I've gotten to the point I can flip the eggs in the pan without using a spatula. Like I'll do that. But yeah, that's what I do. Season both sides, over medium.
There you go. Ladies, you hear it. That's how you like your eggs. You know what I'm saying? O's got you. All right, let's get serious. Let's jump into the first area of compatibility, which is emotional intelligence. All right, so you said communication is and was, and just the reality is like that's your biggest improvement, right? Like, yet impatience still sometimes trips you up.
Hmm.
Um, and most men in your age group, when I looked at the data, like admit that they struggle to express like negative emotions or to be vulnerable when it matters. But you said like you've worked on that, and as we talked about, right, name communication is like your biggest growth point. So just wanted to say that I think that's very dope, and it shows that you're very mature for your age, and that's like based in data. So the questions I have about, one to three. We don't have to get into all of them, but I do have some questions I want to ask you for each of these areas, just so you can kind of talk and share your perspective. The first one is when something feels off for you, like in a relationship or a potential relationship, like how do you stop yourself from withdrawing emotionally?
I think the biggest thing is if something feels off, feel is not always real, right? So if you have the opportunity to like talk to the other person and just sort of like express like, hey, this is what I'm feeling about XYZ 1 2 3, and sort of see if what you're feeling is actually what's happening. I think
Hmm.
that's number one. Um, but I think it is probably like the common theme for a lot of the questions is you if you are going to get anywhere in anything, whether it's a relationship, whether you want to run for office or like you want to just advance in your life, you can't be scared, right? So
Mm,
I think a lot of times I'm human just like anybody else. Like I've um been held back by fear of how people are going to react to whatever it is. But if you have a feeling about something and you want to know what the deal is, you have to be willing to ask the person. You have to be willing to talk about it. So it's something that I've learned, over time through trial and error, is I just can't be afraid to express whatever is happening. And I think that's what keeps me from like withdrawing emotionally is being willing to have difficult conversations. Now, I'm still a human being. Sometimes the
right.
conversations happen a little bit later than they probably should, but I still try to make them happen.
Absolutely. So you're not afraid to go there, essentially.
Exactly.
Cool. And then, okay, so what's the moment in your last relationship where you wish you had spoken up sooner? And like, how would you handle that situation differently today?
So the situation was, um, she had cheated on me,
Oh,
and
shit.
I knew she had because for whatever reason she told me about one of the instances.
Mm.
Um, so I really should have ended it like right then, right? Knowing what I know now, I should have ended it right then because like it was.
Every man say like, nah, you can't cheat on me. If you cheat on me, I'm gone. But not many people are in that specific scenario where it's like, all right, it happened. Did she tell you or did you like figure it out?
So she told me.
Okay.
I think she thought that I think so because she was around people that we both knew like it was like mutuals. So I think maybe she thought that it may get back to me. But regardless, she told me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, actually, okay. She told me eventually. So what happened was she was supposed to come back on like an early flight, and all of a sudden, like I'm up getting ready to go to the airport, and she tells me, "Oh, I missed my flight," which I'm like, okay, well, people miss flights. That happens.
Right.
And then, but she didn't have like a good reason for why she missed the flight.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, that's suspicious. That's weird. Um, and then when she eventually did land, she at first tried to like give like an excuse about why she had missed the flight. And I'm sitting there just like letting her talk. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. But then like the closer we got to my apartment, the more the truth came out. And I mean, it would have been weird to like dump her like in the car, but I think what if I had to do it over again, I think we would have like had a conversation about why, and then I would have been like, I appreciate you telling me, but I don't think this is gonna work out, any further.
I see. So like when you had that conversation, when you picked her up from the airport, you broke up with her in that car ride from the airport to the car, or y'all stayed together even though she had just told you that, she had cheated on you.
We were together for another like 2 or 3 weeks. I think the
But
thing,
it
the
was
thing,
like a roll off. It was like,
yeah.
it was offboarding. You had to make sure. That's tough. Did you see signs beforehand or like was it a surprise? Like outside of, I guess what immediately led up to the act. Like could you look back and see moments where you were like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, looking back, there were signs, and I thought at the time it was just like, okay, well, this is just a relationship with a new person. Maybe we just need to learn, our
Each
sort of
other.
like relationship dynamic, right? But like, I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020. But like looking back, there were some signs that things were not what they seemed.
Hmm. Copy. I was going to ask you what's something a woman's done in the past that instantly made you feel emotionally safe, and I feel like that's a good transition question, right? Like we just heard something that probably didn't make you feel safe at all. Like, do you have an experience that is a good example of what it means to like show up so you can kind of show up too?
Yeah. So recently there was a woman that we dated briefly. And like it had like effectively ended. But I had like I was on a panel at a conference
Hmm.
and there was like a gala afterwards. So I asked her, and honestly I thought she was gonna say no. But like I asked her like if she would go with me like to the gala, and her response was, "Is there gonna be dancing?" And I just remember like this feeling of like relief. First of all, that she didn't reject me outright, but
Yeah.
also that she was like, yeah, this like not only like am I gonna go, I think we're gonna have like a really good time, and just that feeling of like, okay, like this thing didn't work, long term, but like this is like a real person that we can actually
Has
like
it has a
be
sense
friends.
of humor.
Yeah,
Yeah, lightness. Yeah, I got you. And chat, I just want to ask y'all, is it gala or gala? I just want you to type in the word of what it is. Maybe like how you would spell it. Like, is it gala or gala? Because I feel like it's UNCF gala, but the Met, no, it's Met Gala, but then UNCF Gala. I don't know. Like, I want y'all perspective on that. I was always confused by that. But now I love
it might be context specific.
it. Might be context specific. I agree. Wait, is it Gala or Gala? Spell it out. I get that it's going to be the same spelling. All right, so let's move on to communication and conflict. So you dive in head first, but you also admitted that like you've held back like tough emotions in the past. I asked you for your conflict style. You were like you need space when you're upset, and like the growth area was like speaking up when feelings aren't positive. And like the fact that you said you need space when you're upset, like that actually puts you in the same camp as about 61% of the men that I surveyed, compared to only like 46% of women. So for me, it's like that classic demand withdrawal pattern, right? It's like she says we need to talk. You're like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? But I can see that like you've learned to return to the conversation too. We've had a private one-on-one, so we talked about that.
Hmm.
So I guess my question is, you know, like, do you think needing space sometimes gets mistaken for avoidance for you? And, how do you keep your partner not feeling abandoned in your moments where you need a pause?
I think the biggest thing in that situation is you have to say something, right? You can't just disappear. But I think when you disappear, that's how it feels like avoidance. That's how it feels like abandonment, because
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like your loved one can't get a hold of you. So would I have now? For one thing about me, I I am like slow to anger, but like quick to annoy. I'm annoyed all the time. Like I know some people feel it's like if they hear somebody's like annoyed with them, they get like upset. Why are you annoyed with me? I'm annoyed constantly, right? If I have like if I'm waiting for like my food to be delivered, like the Uber Eats driver drives past my apartment, I'm annoyed, right? If I'm
What's your expression of annoyance? Is it a scoff? Is it a look? Like, is it a breath? What is it?
probably scoff a little bit of like eye rolling maybe. But it's like as quickly as the annoyance comes, like it disappears. Right? I'm annoyed for a very short amount of time, then it's over.
Copy.
But like, so I'm annoyed all the time, but I'm almost never angry. So like it's rare. So the few times that I'm angry, that's when I do need like a little bit of like space to be like, okay, let me process this. Because
Absolutely.
I don't want her to get into a conversation when I'm angry about something. Because never the things that I need to say in that moment are not going to come out the way I want them to if I'm angry. If I like have like a second, but that's also why I would say something like, and it's difficult because like I said, I'm almost never angry. But the thing I would try to say is, um, be like, I'm really mad right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back and then we can talk about what just happened.
And you actually come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, man. I think a lot of men. struggle with that. I struggle with it. Therapy helped because I used to just have feelings of like angry or mad, but it was like I learned that there were more complex, more specific feelings that I just called anger or mad. Does that make sense? So it's
Hmm.
like I then use this feelings wheel that like makes you name the specific feeling, and it actually helps in the conversation because like telling somebody you're angry, you're mad, like it doesn't really give them a direction on like how they made you feel. Like, but telling someone like, yo, I felt abandoned, or I felt isolated, right? Like those are the specific kind of feelings that you can say that a lot of times men just say mad or angry. So if that's relevant to anybody, like I want to use these moments to help anybody who's watching. So I know that for me, I had a very similar experience, my bro, and that's what helped me. But appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So so let's ask this then. So like how do you personally reset after a disagreement? Like are you the walk away and return type of, resolver or something else?
I if it's not enough to like make me angry, I like to like have the conversation like right then to like
Yeah,
be able to like get whatever it is out and like move forward. If it's enough that I'm like legitimately angry, then I will step away and
step
then come
away.
back. Because like the you'd have to be close enough to me to make me angry. I think like if it's somebody I'm not close to and they say something, that's something that would just make me, you know what, I would just leave. We just know we don't ever have to talk again. But for me to get angry, um, I remember one time I was angry with one of my brothers
Uh-huh.
because I won't air him out on here, but like
Not air him out, bro.
he
You can handle it.
but he had it was his birthday, and
Uh-huh.
he had invited my ex girlfriend, not the one that
Oh
cheated on me,
wow.
not the one that cheated on me, but he had invited my ex girlfriend and not me. And I'm just like, the fuck is that about?
Like how,
So
bro, you the ops?
exactly, so like I was really mad about that.
Yeah. That's
But
wild.
I remember like I was at work. I was like it was the wrong place to be angry, honestly. Um, so I remember I was like super focused on work the rest of the day. I was like, let me not think about this for a little bit.
How you supposed to be
But
out and about kissing babies and shaking hands and you angry because your brother didn't invited your ex to a party and
right,
not you? That's wild. Okay.
right. But like so like after like an hour or two, like we got on the phone and like hashed it out, and we're like a lot closer now. I think as a result
Mhm.
of having gone through that entire thing. But yeah, that was probably that's probably the angriest I've been as an adult. Was that situation. But even then, like it was like within like 2 hours, like it was over.
So the angriest you've ever been, it was still like a little 2 hour reset.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I don't want to be angry at the people that I love,
I
right?
love
Like
that.
I don't like. So I have two younger brothers. I never fought with them. They would fight with each other, but I never fought with them. Like I
Yeah.
was always like the calming presence. And
Mhm.
I like I like being in that role. Like if something is going on, like I want to be able to like help people squash it. So if you're somebody that I love, I don't want to be angry with you, right? So
Mhm.
like I want to get to a point where we can resolve whatever is causing that conflict.
That's live. We need more people like that in office for real, because it's getting too catty. Like, let's get some peacekeepers. Let's get some adults in there. So I love that. So let's talk money. You do well, and you want your partner to earn not as much as you, but like in a similar kind of range. And you made it clear like you're not interested in dating someone who makes significantly less than you. And I just
Right.
appreciate that honesty because some people will say that, but then not really mean it. And so I think the cool thing about this process is we can find someone who's in that category, no problem. But for me, it was less about like income you're looking for, but more about alignment. And, that's actually in line with what I see across the board. Like 63% of singles had financial instability as the number one deal breaker. And I want to say that was like the highest one. So Yeah, like I get it. So what makes you rare, I thought, was like you're not measuring your income just in dollars, like you're measuring it with intent. And I just thought that that level of discernment, like most people only get there after being burned. And like, so my question was, what's your take on like splitting bills and planning trips and, navigating financial transparency in the early stages? Like, do you talk about that early on? Like, what's your view on 50-50? Maybe let's start there.
So my view on 50-50, I feel like you only know something 50-50 if you're actively tracking it. Um, I think if you are okay, so I know it's 2025. I'm a little like old fashioned on this, but I feel like if you are typically, at least with me, I'm the one that asks the woman out, right? At least for like the first, I don't know, however many dates, let's call it 2 months, however long.
Hmm.
I'm the one that's asking her out. So my expectation on the date is that I'm going to be paying, right? I don't have any problem with that. If I had an issue with it, I wouldn't continue to see
You
her.
wouldn't ask, right?
I think when you start, if you have the conversation, you're like in an exclusive relationship, and you guys are like going on trips or you move in together, you're doing this and that. I think that's when you start talking about, okay, I'll cover this portion, whether it's a trip or I'll cover this portion of bills. Or I don't want to have a situation where everything is like 100% reliant on me. And the reason for that is, I mean, I've lost jobs before. So if everything is based on me, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden I don't have an income anymore, and she doesn't have any income, now we're in like a really bad situation.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess, relative to, national incomes, I'm in a place where if I were dating somebody and she lived and we lived together, like I could pay all the bills by myself.
Hmm.
But I would rather not have that situation.
Hmm.
Um, I want to be in a position where we both feel like we have skin in the game. We're both contributing to the household, but also we're both in a position where we can be investing in things and like making our money grow.
Hmm.
And
And
it's
be a safe space if one person happens to lose something or falls, right? Like it's almost
right,
like what you alluded
exactly,
to that earlier.
exactly. But I think another really big thing is I don't want a woman to feel like she is with me because she has to be. I don't ever want a
Mm.
woman to be like, well, I don't want to be with him anymore, but he's paying all of my bills. Like I don't, if I leave him, what do I do? I do not want that situation ever. It's always going to be like an easy off ramp. If you don't want to be with me anymore, then I'd be like, okay, look, this just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But you can go on your way, like secure
Mm.
financially. I don't, not that I'm that type of person that would like,
Now
oh
that's a
God,
good point. You raised a good point, brother. Like keep going. That's a good perspective. I think people are really gonna talk about when we have this conversation.
I just don't. I think financial abuse is such a big thing, right?
Mm.
And I know people talk about it as though it's only something that happens like with our grandparents. So people talk about, oh, like our grandparents stayed together, they were married for 40, 50 years, and say, okay, not everybody was happy in those relationships. You think about like women in the United States were not allowed to have their own bank accounts in the 70s. Like, what I'm saying? Like the 1970s, not the 1870s, 1970s, right?
1970s.
Like they couldn't get bank accounts without their father or their husband's permission. And
Yeah.
if dad or husband said no, they didn't have any options. There was no no fault divorce until the 70s. So it's very recent that women have been in a position that they can like actually leave bad marriages and like just sort of go their own way. But there's still like a lot of that still happening. So I don't ever want to find myself in a position or put a woman in a position where she feels like she has to be with me or else she's just going to be, up shit's creek without a paddle. That's not a situation I want to find myself in or put anybody else in.
I love that. And look, I'm so fucking deep in Gilded Age right now. And that's one of the key themes, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to all my people who watch Gilded Age, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what he's talking about. And you would think you watch those shows and it's like, yeah, that shit happened, decades ago. But it's really not that long ago to where that was like the mentality and the perspective. So like maybe we gotta think about what we need to unlearn, in 2025. So
Mm.
appreciate you, Obes, for taking it there. I completely agree. So the last question I'll ask you, shout out to the Gilded Age. The last thing I'll ask you for financial mindset, which is 3 of 9, so we still have 4 other compatibility areas, is how do you distinguish between like a woman who's building and like, maybe someone who's hoping that you just carry 100% of the load? Like, is that something you talk about? Like, that's something that I vet on your behalf for because I ask these questions, but like, let's say you weren't using the matchmaker, like how does that conversation usually happen, and is it an effective way to kind of understand?
You gotta have your eyes and your ears open. You gotta have your eyes and your ears open. There's so many people that they get on a date with somebody and they're just sort of like enamored with like the
Yeah,
person's looks, or maybe they have a certain job title or they're in a certain position and
yeah,
they want to overlook a lot of stuff just because they want to be able to say, look at this person I'm with, they're up here, right? It's like,
pedestal.
yeah, it's like, I mean, like, look, that's cool that they've done all these things, right?
Yeah,
Consider myself like a person that's like accomplished a good amount of stuff,
yeah,
but
you are. I'll say
but
that.
if but if that's something that's important to you, right? So okay, so like so to your actual question, right? If you if you want to be the person that is paying all the bills and she doesn't have to work and she can just be like a lady of luxury, if that's the life you want, you need to say that. If
Yeah,
you are the person that wants to have like a partnership that includes finances, you need to say that. I think where people get themselves in trouble is they are unwilling to have that conversation when it's low stakes. And then when all of a sudden it's high stakes, it's really difficult to have that conversation. Like if you marry somebody and she's thinking, oh, I don't have to work anymore, I'm going to be taken care of, and that's not what you wanted, it's gonna take a lot of effort and a lot of money to remove yourselves from that situation. A lot more money and effort than it would have taken if you would have just said that on like the first or second date, or no, whatever date it was. It didn't have to be on the
yeah,
first or second date, but like whatever date it was. I think, but also people will say the things that they think you want to hear. So if you are with
absolutely.
somebody and she's saying, "Oh no, like I agree that we should both be working," but as you guys are getting into your relationship, she never pays for anything.
Yeah,
Like she never makes any kind of arrangements for you guys as you go to do outings. It's always on you financially, even though she said it wasn't always going to be on you. It's like now you have to really look and be like, okay, are her words matching her actions? And you have to be honest about what you're seeing. So yeah, you have to have both your eyes and your ears open. And also, this is where you have to have like people that you trust in your life, like friends and family. And that's why I think it's important to bring the people that you date around people that you love and trust, to get their perspective. And then, for people, watching at home, if somebody comes to you and asks you, "Hey, what do you think about the person I'm dating?" I'm not saying you need to be like an asshole about it, but you need to be like, "Hey, this ain't it."
right. Make it clear. Make it clear and direct.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I completely agree. It's tough, y'all. It's tough for all those reasons he just named. I think that it's a little bit easier if you come to the well match because, I'm asking someone, describe your puzzle piece for me. And I'm asking both sides that. So they're not necessarily just looking at an individual that they want to influence or manipulate, whatever, whether that's a man influencing and manipulating the woman or vice versa, right? They both are saying like who their puzzle piece is, and I just try to match up those pieces together, right? So it's like, yo, you actually get put with someone who's compatible, who, if you weren't in the room, they would say the thing that would most connect with you, not just say the thing that connects with you because you're in the room. Does that make sense? So come to the well match. All right. So let's talk about number 4 of 9, relationship goals. All right. Oh, you're dating with intention, which you is really no gray areas, right? Like you're open to kids, you want a serious relationship now, and you would consider. Let me ask you this: if I match you with somebody, it's going really well, like 12 to 24 months out, would it? What should I be surprised if Obes is on one knee?
No, and I'll tell you why.
Mm.
So, I think I told you this story, but I'll share it for the audience.
Please do.
Well, when my parents met, my dad did not introduce himself. The first thing my dad ever said to my mom was, "I'm going to marry you someday."
Mm.
Like he didn't say, "Hi, my name is Obi." Da, da, da. No, that he literally walked over there and said, "I'm gonna marry you someday." And my mom goes, "Yeah, okay." I mean, now they've been married for it'll be 41 years this year. So,
Mhm.
and I've asked them, multiple times, like, how did y'all know? And they both were like, they just sort of like it's like people say all the time, but I guess it's true. Like when you know. Um, so if if I met someone and we just had that connection and we were compatible in all the key areas, I mean, look, I'm 36, right? I'm young, but I'm not that young,
Right.
So like it's like in
You close to
politics,
Unc, dog. I got labeled a Unc recently, bro. Like, and you 1 year younger. You know what I'm saying? You
yeah,
close, brother.
yeah. I mean, like so, like in politics, I'm like a baby. Everybody's like
Yeah,
50,
absolutely,
60 in politics.
absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
it's like I'm the youngest person in my race, by the way. The oldest
Mhm.
person's like 62. The other person's like there's another guy's like 50 something, and the woman she's in her 40s, I think, and I'm 36. So if I like that, I'd be the youngest person on council. But at the same time, I think I just heard something the other day. Like for women, like 35 is geriatric pregnancy, right?
Mhm.
So, and I'm a year older than that. So I'm not that young. So like,
Yeah,
I'm not getting any younger. So I think, um, like if I meet that person, I'm all in.
y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. All right. I didn't. I see some lawyers in here. Yeah, I didn't lead the witness or nothing. I asked the question properly. Yeah, but nah, man, like, I think that it's just, you kind of fall in line with a lot of people who do this questionnaire. 92%, of the respondents said they're actively, looking for marriage or long-term partnership. And like, honestly, that's what I'm most excited about and proud of. It's really people who are not just out here trying to like, we're not gonna go there, right? Like, it's really people who are hoping and interested in finding someone who's compatible. And if they meet that person, we can do everything that comes with that. But it's not people who just gonna force it either. So I respect that as well. All right. So like, what shifted in the past 3 years that like moved you from, I'll call it hurt to healed, but like we don't have to make it that sentimental, right? But basically ready to build again, right? You talked about how you got cheated on. And like even in that story, bro, like it wasn't like, man, this bitch cheated on me, bro. It was just like, yeah, you cheated on me. You know what I'm saying? Like it you were able to get to healed really quickly. And maybe that's like you don't get angry, you just probably get annoyed. But I'm curious, like maybe walk me through your growth for the past 3 years, and like just share like kind of where you are right now. Cause that'll help me match you with someone, based on those aligned goals.
So I think the number one thing was so the relationship before that one. After
Yeah.
that ended, I remember I was devastated, right? To the point that I remember I was sitting at home, and this was in Dallas, mind you, right? So I was like, I had moved to Dallas for this woman, and I'm a Houstonian, you're a Houstonian. Like, I did not want to be in Dallas. I moved to Dallas for this woman, and then it ended basically as soon as I got there. So I was like, oh my God, this is awful, right? So no, 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 no. I was about to say no disrespect to Dallas. That's not true. Full disrespect to Dallas.
Boy, this
But
shirt's in Dallas, exactly, bro. It's like, no, if anybody's from Dallas, like it's not y'all, it's just the city in general. Houston's
yeah,
better. Stop it.
hey, it is what it is. But anyway, so like I'm sitting at home, and I was like, I this is not something that I can just handle by myself. Like I need to talk to somebody. So like I found a therapist,
Mm.
and like it's not it's not often or it's not always that the first therapist you work with like works for you. Like a lot of times people have to go to multiple till they find the right one for them.
Yep.
And but like she was I remember I sought out like I'd done like a little bit of research into like who I thought might be like a good therapist for me, and I remember like specifically I was looking for a black woman therapist.
Yeah.
So I found one, and she was fantastic. So like she really worked with me, and like she taught me like techniques to be able to like cope with things, and so like I took those tools that she taught me. So when I was in the next one where I got cheated on, I remember I thought I was like, it's been a while since I've seen her. Let me go talk to her. I remember like I'd laid out everything that had happened, and she's writing, listening quietly, and I get to the end, and she looks up from her notepad and she goes, you know, you don't have to put up with this. And it was almost like I needed like
Nudge.
external permission, right, to like
Right.
do what I already knew I needed to do. Because like in that moment when she said that, it was like a weight had been lifted, like the clouds parted. I was like, exactly. I was just like yeah, I don't have to put up with this. I remember I remember like her office was like really close to the apartment I lived in at the time. It's like
Yeah.
I'd walked there and like I walked home with like a pep in myself. I was like, yeah, like I don't have to put up with this. Like I don't like she's not doing right by me. I don't need to be in this situation. And
Right.
like I broke up with her that night, and like you know, it's been. I remember thinking like, okay, I feel much better having had that outlet and having had a therapist and a good therapist at that to be able
I
to
love
talk to
that.
about these issues.
Talk a little bit briefly, but talk a little bit about like the emotion that was conflicting with what your therapist said. Like, what was it about you? Was it the fact that you just believe in unconditional love, or you're just so loyal, or like you believe in duty? Like, what is it about your personality that made you defer to that, but also like open enough to hear another perspective that said, you know what, like, nah, she's right.
I think for me, if I have in my mind that a decision I made is like the right one, then it can be hard at times to like
Yeah.
to know when I have to shift course.
Yep.
So like I had made up in my mind like this one was so fine, right? Like every time like I look at her, I'd just be like, is it that bad? Is it
That,
really that bad?
like, right. You tell yourself the story's only going to get better.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, but like, it got to a point where I was like, okay, yeah, this one was fine and everything, but like,
Yeah.
this is not the right situation for me. I can't be in this anymore.
Hmm.
So I think it was just having the perspective of somebody that I trusted in that moment. 'Cause I think that's the other thing about me is, okay, I've made this decision. I'm going to go down this path. But if somebody that I trust that has, you know, shown to me over time that they have good judgment and that they're not gonna bullshit me. If they come to me and say, hey, you should reconsider this, then I'm gonna, you know, sit and reconsider it and like look at the total picture. And but also like if they have advice in that situation, I'm gonna listen to them as well. Like I am somebody, and I think it also makes me a good candidate, and I think I'll be a good council member
Go ahead, bro.
is
Talk your shit.
I listen to the advice of my advisor and I vet my advisors well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I know everything. Like I think I'm a person of like high intelligence. I don't think I know I don't know everything. There's people that know things that I don't know that have perspectives and experiences that I don't have. So it'd be like a dereliction of duty for not just for whatever job I have, but for my own life to not listen to the people that I've surrounded myself with. I've put they're in my life for a reason. So it only helps me to listen to those folks.
Bro, you got a lot of comments saying that everyone's team Obes and people are, I love the lives because it's a good opportunity. I get it. Like it's tough because lives make you just really commit all your time here. You can't like multitask here. So I appreciate everyone who's here, honestly. It means a lot. But like people are like leaving and coming back to hear more. So I was just wanted to give you a little shout out throughout, and people are saying that in the chat too. So let's talk about attachment styles. This is 6 out of 9. So just a few more. Okay, so I asked you to rank your love languages. How do you show love in a relationship? So you said one is physical touch, two words of affirmations, three acts of service, four quality time, five gifts. I asked you how do you perceive love? One was physical touch, two was words of affirmation, three was acts of service, four was quality time, five gifts. So like if you didn't catch that, it's the same. So starting off with physical touch, then words, acts of service, quality time, then gifts. So gifts is last, physical touch is first. All right. You're also securely attached, which is, only 39% of the respondents can actually say that. Most just, are a mix between anxious and figuring it out still. There are some avoidant, but the main is anxious and still figuring it out. You show that you show and receive love primarily through physical touch and words of affirmation, which aligns perfectly with the males in our survey. Like actually 29% of the men choose physical touch as their number one, compared to women, It's only 5% of women who choose physical touch one, by the way. All right. So this makes you, one of the most emotionally expressive men we've seen. You don't want love, like you don't just want love, you want to feel it. And that's exactly what most women say that they've been missing. But it's also something that's tough to kind of navigate too soon, too, right? So, like, do you notice early when someone's love language doesn't align with your own? And, like, how do you try to adapt?
Yeah. So, I think that the statistic you just gave about the women, like the only 5%, like the number one thing being physical touch, that's something I've seen a lot, especially somebody who primarily, almost exclusively dates black women.
Yep.
Um, if if their number one thing is not physical touch, it's like immediately evident. Um, so now, if I'm on like a first date, I am not like super duper touchy feely, just because I know from experience and just conversations I've had with women that if you are not sure that somebody wants to be touched, you should not be trying to touch them, right? So like the way I find out if a woman is very like into physical touch is going to be like through conversation or through like reading like physical cues. Because like women will like if they'll like if they're like laughing at a joke, they'll like reach out and touch you, right?
Right,
Maybe
right,
like
right. Yep.
they'll like give like little like moments here and there where like
Cues,
they'll like
signals. Right. Yep.
exactly. So if they're like otherwise enjoying the date, but there's none of that, then it's like okay, maybe the physical touching is not a big thing for her, right? And then also like if we're just like explicitly having the conversation about the different like love languages, and like she'll say like, physical touch is not that big for me. Now I have to see, okay, like how does she mean that? Does she mean it's not number one, but maybe it's two or three? Does she mean it's like four or five? Does she mean like
Yeah.
I'm really not into the touch at all? I have to figure out exactly what's meant by that. If because then there's a woman I dated, and so it was last year coming into this year, where we're very compatible outside of the physical touch thing. She was really not, at least from my perspective, she was not into physical touch like at all. Um, and this got to a point where I was like, this is not going to work for me. Because like, and it was a shame because like we were
Everything else.
everything else was like was really good or great, but it's just like I know for me, it's I can't live a life where the woman that I'm with doesn't want to touch me. So like I had to be. I remember like I sat and sort of like agonized over it a little bit because again, it's like man,
Like
this
you
woman's
thought
so great.
about, could you do it? Could you make the deal? Probably, right? Like,
Exactly, exactly.
and then you also probably convince yourself this may change in the future. Right now, she's not, but like maybe in the future,
Right,
right?
like
So you had to have a real conversation with yourself.
with myself and with her because like she mentioned that it had been an issue with other people with other men in the past. So
Mm,
I'm like okay, so there's been conversations about not just with me but with other people, and
yeah,
we're still in this place. I'm like okay, this is unfortunately this is not it's
it's
not going to
not gonna
work.
work. Like that's another data point, and you appreciate her for saying that because it's not just you, right? It's her too. It's
Yeah,
like, yo, like
right.
I'm not like from your perspective, you're looking at her like, is she ever gonna change? But she may be looking at you like, is he ever gonna like stop fucking pushing and is he ever gonna stop? Get over here. Right? And it's like, nah, man, so I appreciate that y'all were able to talk about it. Cause like, a lot of times it doesn't just go away, bro. That shit stays there, so you really have to be very clear on those things. So like,
Absolutely.
okay, so like, I want to ask the audience, right? Like, do y'all know like your own partner's love language and like how did y'all figure it out? And like, are y'all good at identifying like if there's misalignment with love languages? And let me see if I have another question for you. So like what does it look like for you, Obes, when a woman gets your love language wrong? And like how do you navigate that connection? Because I think a lot of the conversation around love language is like, oh, you don't love me in the way that I need you to love me, right? Like if it's physical touch for you, like you don't go there. But like have you ever been in a situation where it's like, but I'm loving you through, I'm loving you through quality time, or I'm loving you through acts of service. Like do you have a sense of like this mismatch, or is it just you either feel it or you don't altogether? Does that make sense? Is that like that question makes sense to me, but I'm curious if it makes sense to you.
So what I heard you ask me was, have I been in a situation where I thought I was loving a woman the way she said she wanted to be loved? Is that what you're asking me?
We can take it
But
there. At first, it was from her perspective, but I'll take it there to yours. So it's like, have you ever gotten someone's love language wrong, to where it's like, yo, like I'm loving you through physical touch, but she's like, nah, bruh, love me through acts of service, love me through gifts.
oh, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so for me getting it wrong, there's not an example that like immediately comes to mind. But I mean, I'm single right now, so clearly I've gotten some of these things wrong.
Right, accountability,
Um,
ladies. Right.
yeah, let's see. Well, yes, okay. So the example that I just gave, um, she was big on quality time. Like she'd be over here like all the time. Um, but like she also would want to like be out at like the hookah lounge or at like like have like a section like at like a club or what have you. And I remember at first thinking, yeah, man, I like hookah every now and then. So like I remember that first month, I was like, okay, I've smoked more hookah this month than I have like the past like 3 years. This is like this is a lot. I don't know if I can keep like this is a bit too
Right.
much for me.
Yeah.
So for me, it's somebody that, especially after like I think we dated for like 5 or 6 months. So after like a month in, I'm thinking, okay, we can be more like touchy feely because we're only seeing each other at this point. Um, and that point just never it never came, right? So I felt like I thought I was giving her the things that she wanted, that she needed, um, romantically. Maybe I was, but I didn't feel like I was getting like the number one thing I needed. So in terms of like the words of affirmation and like quality time, like I felt like there was like a good amount of that, but those are not like my number one
That's
thing.
not your love language. Exactly. Quality
Right.
time and gifts, like those are your last two. Words of affirmation, that's second. But like you're like, yo, where's the physical fucking touch, man?
Right. There was none of it.
Right. You pull up the hookah, but like where's the physical touch, bruh? So nah, I get that. So yeah, I mean, we're talking a lot about this, ladies who are watching, because like I want to iterate that that's what his top love language is. That's how he likes to receive it, and that's how he shows it. So, like, if Obes is somebody that, may be a good fit for you, like, factor that in. And it's okay if like that's not how you show love, or want to receive it. But in my opinion, that will be a mismatch, and that then in turn for me like doesn't lead to like a compatible match, because you'll just have two people who are like trying to love each other but not in the ways that they want to give it or receive it. So I want to try to find someone who like maybe, but look, the bad part, bruh, only 5%.
I know.
Only five
I
percent
know.
of Black women rated physical touch first. So I'll look at the numbers for like 2 and 3, and I'll
I,
see.
I bro, trust me. I've seen that out
Yeah,
in the field as
in
well.
the wild.
It's not just theoretical. I've seen it
Yeah,
in the
nah,
field as
nah, nah.
well.
It checks out, bro. That is true.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about deal breakers and red flags. So this is 7 out of 9, right? So okay, so we'll talk boundaries, right? So you broke the pattern of ignoring, red flags, if you felt like she looks right on paper. And maybe some of
Hmm.
those exes you talked about, like in the past, like it's like maybe like on paper, you said like she was bad, you know. So it's like maybe that allows you to look past some of the things that you normally would be like, I don't know. I think we as men do that often. You also name political incompatibility as a deal breaker, financial
Mm.
instability, and women who don't like want kids. That's a firm no for you. Like you want kids, and that tracks with what I saw across the survey for everyone. 63% said, like I said earlier, financial instability was a top red flag. 55% said not wanting kids is non-negotiable, and then 37% said that they won't date someone from an opposite political camp. So, you know, maybe we start there. Like you're running for office. Like what are your own political beliefs, and like who could you not be with politically?
So there's a woman I dated a couple years ago, um, where she just
Voted for
told me.
Trump?
I remember she told me that she was gonna try to like convince me to like give up being like politically active. I remember like at that moment I was like, this is not this is not
It's not
gonna
gonna
work.
work. Yeah,
Because like at that point I'd already run once before and
yeah.
gotten like I came within like 20 votes of winning.
Mm.
So that I hadn't run a second time yet, but like I knew I was gonna run again at some point. And even if I didn't, like I was gonna be involved with other people's campaigns. Like I see somebody in the chat whose campaign I was involved with last year.
That's what's up.
Um, so this is a part of my life. This is like something I'm always gonna be doing. So from that regard, like if somebody is like, I don't. I could be with somebody that's not like as politically active because I mean, the vast majority of people are not as politically active as me. So that can't
Right.
be
I'm
like
not
a
saying
deal
that.
breaker.
I'm just saying, like you couldn't date someone who voted for Trump, huh?
No, no, that'd
Yeah.
be no.
What about someone who's fiscally conservative? Like, I hate Trump, but like fiscally conservative.
So there's only been a couple people that I've met that said they're fiscally conservative. That meant like what that actually means. Because like most of the time in my experience, when people say that they're fiscally conservative but like socially liberal, what they
Hmm.
actually mean is they're just conservative, right? There's been a couple people that I've met that when they say they're fiscally conservative, they mean like the actual definition of not spending more than like whether it's your household or a government, not spending more than you actually are bringing in. And like there's I guess some level of merit to that. But when people say that, it's usually a dog whistle, right?
Hmm.
It's like they're usually what they mean is they're actually Republicans or like super conservative. They just don't want to say it because they think you won't date them otherwise.
Right.
So like I remember somebody said that to me recently, and like I was like, well, wait a second, what do you mean by that? And like what they explained to me is like, okay, you actually mean like the real definition, not just like the dog whistle. So I mean, if somebody says that, it's not an immediate deal breaker. Like I want to see what they
But
actually
you
mean by
you want
that.
to explore more. It's like, yo, there's more to be discussed after that's brought up.
Right, exactly. So like somebody's like obviously I couldn't date. I mean, I almost exclusively date black women, but there are black women that don't like black people. So like I couldn't date a woman like that. I couldn't date a woman who is like homophobic because one of my brothers is gay. So if you hate gay people, this is not going to work.
I love that.
Um,
Love that, bro.
um, Basically, like if you like any like no racists, no homophobes, no basically what would be considered like modern day conservative is going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to be compatible with me.
Don't want women to choose, what I'm saying, for their own bodies. Like that's not somebody.
No,
Yes.
okay, so it's like yeah, I am 100% for female bodily autonomy. Like women, like it's their body, they can do what they want to do. Like I am not here to somebody, especially somebody who's not a woman, to tell women what they can and cannot do with their bodies.
Same.
So,
Same.
so like now I haven't, I couldn't tell you the last woman I met that was like pro-life or whatever. That's not something that happens to me typically. But I remember just I did meet somebody. Not even meet her. Like we matched on I think Hinge or something. And like she said that she was conservative. I was like, well, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
And really, what it was, she was like a raging like homophobic person. I was like, okay,
Mm.
this is definitely not going to work. But yeah, I think the really somebody who considers themselves that would call in 2025, given everything that's happened, somebody that would say, like a woman that would say, I'm conservative, it's not going to work.
Copy. And a lot of women who say that are also very religious. So maybe let's talk about that for a little bit. I don't know if you call yourself very religious. I think you're more spiritual than religious. Is that true? Like maybe just share more about like your background there.
Yeah, so I am somebody who has um, church leaders on both sides of my family. So my dad's father was a reverend minister in Nigeria.
Okay.
I just recently found this out. My mom's grandfather was a Presbyterian preacher, also in Nigeria.
Okay.
So on both sides we got religious folks. Um, I couldn't tell you last time I went to church, right? I don't consider myself an atheist, but I don't go to church. Now, I mean, I've been to church, obviously. I think
Hmm.
we all have at some point. Like I grew up going to church. Like I've read the Bible multiple times. Like I know religious doctrine and all of that. But
Yep.
I just don't think so. Like I don't like down anybody who's like who feels they are religious, like goes to church every Sunday. That's just not the path for me. But like I said, I'm not an atheist. Like I feel like if I woke up tomorrow and something happened that said to me, you need to be going to Wheeler Baptist Avenue Church every, you know, the
Sunday.
Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church like every Sunday. That's the path for you, right? If some Now I don't know what that would have to be that would put me on that path. But if that thing, whatever it is, happened, then that's what I would do. But the way my life has gone thus far has not told me that that is the path for me. But I'm open. But if that were, like I said, if that were to happen,
If that happens, then you're open to it.
yeah.
Cool. Well, what if that's the path or that happened or there's someone who does go to Willer Baptist Avenue every week. Is that someone who is incompatible with you in your opinion? Or is because could that work if there's respect with what you believe versus what she believes and where she chooses to worship and where she gets her strength and source versus where you get your strength and source from?
For me personally, it's not an issue.
Okay.
Like if a woman, wants to go to church every Sunday, like I mean, sure, I'd be there sometimes. Um, but so for me, it's not an issue. What in my experience has happened is
Mm-hmm.
me saying, "Hey, I don't go to church every Sunday." That has been a deal breaker for women in the
For
past.
them.
Yeah,
This is why we talk about these things. So like that's why I love this forum. Because it's like, listen, I just hope everybody's listening all the way through. Because if you do, and like everything aligns, that's chef's kiss for me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because it's like it's so good. But I think that we rarely talk about these things, especially when you first meet someone. So like that's why I wanted to do this. So I appreciate you just being very clear on your stance. And again, there's no wrong answers. It's literally just your answers. So appreciate you, Oaks. Let's talk about relationship roles. This is 8 of 9. So after this is just physical attraction. All right, so Obes wants a co-lead relationship. No domination. You're not a doormat. Like he wants rhythm, right? Like he wants a good rhythm in the household. So 50% of our respondents said the same thing, but here's a twist. So 64% of men said they prefer to lead. 47% of women said they prefer to follow. So that leaves like this small middle where like true co-leadership lives, and that's where like Obes plants his flag. So I think that like co-leadership is honestly like the new normal, like just with where we are in 2025. But like, you know, I thought it's rare to find a man who's like both assertive and collaborative and like how you move and love and like, shout out to you. So like maybe talk about like I think that the thing that men will say is like, yo, I'm a leader, you follow, but you're saying like, yo, you're cool with being a co-lead. So I just
Mhm.
wanted to give you the floor to just talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so in the house that I grew up in, I don't know if this is typical. Actually, it's not typical of most Nigerian households, but in my household, my mom, I would say was like mostly the person leading, right? I remember my dad at their 30th wedding anniversary. It was either 30th or 25th wedding anniversary. He told this joke, I'll never forget it. So he gets the microphone in front of everybody. My mom's name is Grace, and he goes, you know what? When Grace and I got married, all those years ago, we had a discussion when we came to the decision that she would make all the small decisions and I would make all the big decisions. In 25 years of marriage, we have yet to make a big decision. And I thought that was so funny. Everybody laughed. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
And like I thought about that and looked at, my life up until that point and then even my life like to now.
Yeah.
Um like what I recognized is my mom is really smart. Like she makes good decisions and my dad trusts her and trusts her judgment that if they're making it, if something comes up and they're talking about it and she feels like, hey, this is the direction I think we should go. 9 times out of 10,
He's
that
gonna be
is the
like
best. Yeah,
that.
yeah. He's like, you know what? That sounds great. Let's do that. So
Yeah.
that was the example that I saw growing up. So I mean, I consider I think I've said this earlier today. I consider myself like a smart person. I feel like I make good decisions. But I want to be with somebody that I don't have to make every single decision. Just like I don't want her to feel like she has to make every single decision. Because there's going to be times where, people, we all work very hard, especially in this day and age. We all work very hard all the time. There's going to be times where we're just burnt out, where we're exhausted from making every single decision, where we just want to be able to put it in the other person's hands and not feel like they're going to do something stupid. so, so like that. So that's really what I want. I want a situation with a woman where I trust her judgment,
Yeah.
so that if she's making a decision, if we're talking about something and she says, I think we should do this, I don't have to think about it that hard. I can just be like, you know
Oh,
what, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Or if she puts it in my hands and she's like, what do you think? I go, well, given the circumstance, I think we should do this. She's like, you know what, that's a good idea. Let's do that. But like I
it's not
want,
it's not super high stakes with who has to take it, or it's not a
right,
keeping score of how many you've taken versus how many I've taken. It's collaborative.
right. It's like a Jordan versus LeBron approach, right? Do I have to take the last shot or do we want to get the best shot possible? So like,
Mm.
so like, I'm very much more LeBron than Jordan.
We're gonna get the last shot. Like if I gotta kick it to Kyle Korver on the corner, like I'm gonna kick it to Kyle because he's wide open. He hits that shot
Exactly.
40% clip versus me who's double teamed. Like I can do it. Sure, I'm the best player, but putting someone in the best opportunity is something different.
And that's also knowing the other person's strengths and weaknesses, right? So like, just stick with this basketball analogy. LeBron's not going to give Kyle Korver the ball in the post with the game on the line.
No,
That's
he's
not
not.
his. That's not his
That's not
strength.
his game.
Kyle's game is to shoot wide open threes and drain them, right? So to take it back to relationships, if we're talking about okay, as an example, like
Hmm.
my brother is amazing at planning trips, planning vacations. If you go on a vacation with my brother Okeshi, he's gonna make spreadsheets. He's gonna have summaries of like the activities you can do, and he's gonna say, "I'm doing these things. I just need you to make these reservations." Right? Because like he'll look at you and be like, I know if I give you this task, you're gonna do it,
You
and like
can do
I
it.
don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you can do
Right?
it. You can do it, and it'll be helpful if you do it. Whatever. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I remember we went to Puerto Rico and like he did one group of things, and my cousin did one thing, and he goes, Obes, I need you to make the reservations at these restaurants. So I said, okay. And I made all the reservations. We had all of our meals. We just had to show up. I already made the reservation. We were good to go. Because he knew that I didn't really want to do the stuff that he had planned.
Right.
But he knew if he gave me this task, I could do it with ease, right? So I think a relationship is the same way. We do not have to be good at every single thing. We don't need to be super knowledgeable about every single topic. But your partner may know stuff about something that you don't know. So in that situation, it makes a lot of sense to be like, hey, babe, what do you think about this?
Yeah,
Right? Because she's an expert in that. And then stuff that you're more knowledgeable on, she can come to you and say, hey, what do you think about this? I think that's the type of situation that I'm looking for and that I want to be in.
I love that. So the quick follow up to that is like, are there any areas where you feel like you are Kyle Korver in the corner that you're like, yo, if it's related to this, I want to lead it.
I can tell you like a relatively small stakes thing. if I am ever out with you, this is not just in a romantic setting, but if you're
I
ever out with
already
me
know where you
anywhere,
headed with this. I love that. Go ahead.
if you're ever out with me anywhere, and it's like, hey, which direction do we need to go to get out of here? I have no idea. Don't ever come to me asking for directions. Where are we? Where do we need to
East
go? I have no
facing,
idea.
north facing, like not your. Okay,
I
cool.
have no
I
idea.
feel, bro. Yeah.
I'm gonna get us lost. Don't ask me, right? so so in that situation, I'd be like, hey, I got Google Maps on my phone. We're all good. Here
Right.
we go.
Right. Right.
I'm very much like Kyle Korver in that situation. But if it comes to, hey, we're hosting a dinner party this
Yeah.
Saturday, like what type of dish do we make? I got you all day,
I
every
got
day. I'm very much like LeBron in that situation. I'd be like, we should. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna pair this wine with it. I'm gonna have this dessert. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna do it. You don't worry about it. I'm just gonna do it. You do all the other stuff. I'm just gonna do this thing.
love that. That's fire, bro. Y'all ladies want some dinner parties? Nah, but
People love the dinner parties too. There's people in the chat who can attest to that too. Very very good at the dinner parties.
hey man, maybe we do like a well matched dinner party. You
As soo-
know?
as soon as this campaign is over, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, we'd be down for that. Hopefully I met you in the interim. But if not, I think that'll be a really good like organic way to kind of progress this. So all right, so now we are at 9 of 9. So now we're talking about physical attraction. All right,
All
hope
right.
you don't get canceled. Hope I don't get canceled. It's above board. Okay. So Oves likes women who are tall, thick, black. He said you've heard him like throughout this, right? Like it's been like mostly black, primarily black. Like I'm trying to understand like what's the outskirts for you. But and you like confidence too.
Mhm.
And there was like a stress about like hygiene and just like how they're groomed. So I could also see that like energy was important for you. It seemed like someone being too skinny was a turnoff. Like you love a woman who's like also openly attracted to you. So it's almost
Mhm.
like someone can be more attracted if she like is like attractive to you. And honestly, you're not alone on that. Like when you look at the data, 72% of men prefer curvier bills, and 86% of men and women prioritize like some form of grooming or self care in like what they like. But I thought what makes you different again was like you put an emphasis on like their presence. So you're not just looking for like an IG model, like IG perfection. Like it's someone who's like who has a vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like who's tall, who's black, who's a little thick. You know what I'm saying? Some curviness, and just keeps yourself up. Um, so before we get into it, I did want to ask you this because this is something I put on my Instagram story earlier today, and I want to get your take. So studies show that the strongest long-term couples tend to be those who not only are attracted to each other, but those who see each other, being in the same age, I'm sorry, the same range with physical appeal. So like just as you said, you're more attracted to somebody or like that helps if like they looking at you like, oh yeah, like I think you fine too, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what the studies show. Like that leads to more longevity. So I wanted to ask, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how would you rank your own physical attractiveness? And then based on that, what number do you typically aim for in a partner? And y'all about to see my dog. Come on, Ralphie. Go ahead, bro. The floor is
I
yours.
I rate I rate myself like 8.5 or 9,
Okay.
and I think the women that I go after are like in that same range, maybe like up to. So if I were dating them, I would say I would tell them they were a 10. So like, but like I don't look at the I don't look at myself.
You said you would
I
tell them they were a 10?
I will all the women that I date are fine, right? So it's like I don't date any women that anybody would look at and be like, really, you're dating her? That doesn't happen. So I don't know. I would say the women that I date are at least as good looking as I consider myself.
Okay. So cool. And like when you think about your own number, are you factoring in everything that's going well in your life? You know what I'm saying? Are you factoring in your height, or like, are you factoring in the fact that you don't have kids, or like, I'm curious. I'm trying to gather data here, and I want to understand if everybody ranks everybody the same, or like when you rank yourself, are you like what's the rubric that we use when we rank ourselves?
Well, I think for me, in rating myself, so I think based on not just the what I see when I look in the mirror, but also the response I get from women in terms of like
There you
it's like
go.
it's like I remember I
How
was
tall are
reading
you?
6'3".
There you go. So you're 6'3".
I mean that doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. Like,
Yeah.
dog, not from what I've heard.
But like if I were ugly, I don't think I'd get the response from women that I get. Right? You know, I remember I was reading something um the other day and it was talking about one of the ways you know you're good looking is if like people that you don't know like smile at you as you're like walking down the street. And I was like, people smile at me a lot. Okay, there's like little. Now that by itself doesn't tell you anything, but there's like a few things people talk about that they said this doesn't happen to them. I was like, that happens to me, and I was like, okay. And then I looked and I thought about the women that I date, and I was like, okay. I guess I am good. It's not like it wasn't just my mom saying it. I guess it's true. So it's like, okay.
Would you be bold enough? Let me. You can say no, because could we ask the people in here to rank you? Would you be bold enough to do that? Like the women, we can say
Well,
no.
well,
You said an 8, 9, 10. Because somebody said this. Fine. Like
I did see that.
I asked women for a question for him, and all she put was all caps fine.
I did
But
see
like
that.
it's I don't know. Like maybe that's like a bad question to ask. Like I don't want to put you on the spot with that. Like
I'm feeling good. I don't need my feelings potentially hurt,
yeah,
but
that's
but
not right. See, sometimes we don't want to know. You know what I'm
no,
saying? But it's yeah, I got you. Okay, so let's talk about physical attraction. What instantly takes someone from nice to look at to oh no, I need to know her.
I think for me the number one thing is if there's any level of like interest expressed in me, right? Because like I don't typically like approach women when I'm out. Like I have a friend, he's married now, but when we were in college, he was like a volume shooter, right? If you saw a woman that he thought looked good when we were like at a party or something, he would go talk to everybody, and he would just like you just strike out left and right, and he'd be like, "You only need one, you only need one, Obes, you only need one." And I'm like, "Yeah, but not the way you doing it. What are you talking about?"
Not that way. Like
So
that could be seen as creepy. You know what I'm saying?
right, right, exactly. So for me now, when I like if I'm out, especially since like most of the places I go, even when I'm not running for office, most of the
You're
places
not
I
really
go are like
outside like that.
no, most
Like
places that I go are like somewhat professional settings. So like I'm
yeah.
either at like a political like club or organization's meeting or happy hour, or because I'm the president of the Body City Art Festival, so I might be at one of our events, or I'm also on the board of directors for the University of Houston Alumni Association
Oh,
Foundation.
that's fire.
I might be at one of our events, so I can't just be out here like just trying to talk to everybody.
Turning up, doing the most, like shooting shots.
Right. So
Like
like
nah.
it's like I gotta be like on my P's and Q's, make sure like, okay, did did that signal actually happen? Or did I
There
just
you
imagine
go.
that?
Okay, signal versus command. Absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So like I gotta really make sure it's like, okay, did that actually happen? Or did I just
Mhm.
imagine that? Right? So like I know for fact because the women told me. I've frustrated a lot of women that wanted me to ask them out because I'm like, I don't know. Did
I
you
don't
actually
know.
want me
Like
to
right. We gotta be sure because in the age of Diddy, in the age of, Me Too, like I think men are like, yo, I just want to be clear. Like this is above board, like I want consent. I'm not interested in offending you. Now, there is attraction, but there almost needs to be a clear signal and not a command, but a clear signal on if you want me to holla. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And otherwise, it's like there's a lot of men who just gonna be like, I'm straight. I'm straight.
Mm.
I because there's we don't have to go there, but absolutely. Okay, cool. So are you pickier in person than on paper, or do you sense like a bad vibe immediately?
I think in terms of like a vibe with somebody, because I don't. Do I consider myself a picky person? I don't know if I consider myself like a picky person. I think for me,
Let's see what Lil said real quick before you go. Lil said, "This is why I refer Opes to matchmaking. Politics and signals have no mix. He has to get a matchmaker, and I'm happy he's here." First of all, thank you, Lillian. Lillian did refer my dog Opes. You know what I'm saying? That's where I got to know him. Solid dude. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate him for showing up here because it's like this makes my job so much easier because y'all get a chance to see if like this is actually your person. And I think that he's going to be someone's person. He's also not going to be someone's person. Again, if we talk about some of the things we've also talked about, and that's fine. That doesn't make him a bad person, but that means that he's not your person. So, my bad, Opes. Just want to give
oh,
Lil a
no
shout
problem.
out, but go ahead.
Lillian's amazing. She's also a fantastic judge.
Yes,
Fantastic judge.
absolutely.
What were we saying?
I asked you, are you a picky person?
Oh, I wouldn't consider myself picky, but I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know.
How tall they gotta be? This will help me. You know what? You ready for this? How tall they gotta be?
Okay, so this is why I am pickier on paper than in person.
Okay.
So whenever I'm on like the apps, right, I set the minimum height to like 5'6" or 5'7".
Okay.
But when I meet women in person, if they're like 5'4", honestly, there's women that are even shorter than that. That was like, okay, this is actually like I'm getting again like a good vibe off this. Like maybe we could see how this goes. So I guess that's where I'd say I was like pickiest is like on height.
So women are very picky on height. Like that's one of the things that I talk to every woman about, and it's like I'm 5'1", but he needs to be 6 foot. And it's like I'm joking, but like often that's the vibe, that's the motion, and like I love that you said height because now I get a chance to ask you, like, what is it about height? Is it you want athletes, or like, is it just like the day to day, like sex? I don't know. Like, what is it? Like, why do you want someone who's taller?
Okay, so like the athletes thing, I think when I first realized I was like more into taller women, I wasn't thinking about like potential kids.
Okay.
Um, but I will say it is in the back of my mind. It's like I look at how expensive college is. I'm like, it'd be better if they could like
Right.
if they could get like either like an academic or athletic scholarship. That'd be great. Um, but I think I don't know. I just like I think height is just attractive. I'm
Yeah.
attracted to height. But I just think tall women are beautiful. Which is for the record, which is not the shade. Short women are not beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm just
Right.
talking about my own personal
It's a politician right there, ladies.
preference.
It's like for the record. Okay, okay. So tall gang here. I'm 5'10". Shout out to you. Okay, yes, you are. Let me see. Okay, so what are things we haven't talked about? So like kids. You want kids. How many kids you want?
So if you had asked me that question 5 years ago, I would have said like three or four.
Okay.
At 36 now, I'd say two or three. I think the older I get, the more I'm like, can I really do that many? So I think like if you put a gun in my head, I'd say two.
Two or three. Two or
Yeah,
three. Okay. And would you date someone who has kids already?
yeah. I've dated a number of women that had kids already.
Would you marry someone who has kids already?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a cap in the number of kids they can have? Or
Well,
or baby fathers? Or do you think about what are you thinking about? Because I love first of all, I'll say I love that. I love that. Because I think that there's so much benefits of talking to somebody who has kids. Like a lot of them are just fucking great, by the way.
oh yeah. Oh
they're
yeah,
just awesome people. You know what I'm saying? Like just really cool, very, very dope people. But it's like I want to understand like what's my guardrails for you? Like, is there a number of kids or is there like a situation that you try to avoid? The floor is yours.
well, I think it's practically right. So if I want two or three, and she already has two, the chances that she wants another two are going to be pretty slim.
And
So I think like if the woman only had one and was looking to have one or two more, I think would be like a good situation. Um, I mean, I know a woman. I think she already had one or two, like from a previous relationship. Then she got with her current husband, and then they had like two or three more. And I was like, okay, well, but she knew that and I go, she wanted a basketball team, right? So like,
so they got one
so
more. They got one more on the way.
I think that they have their five now.
Okay, they got their hoop squad. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Cool.
they got their starting five.
So
Um,
you're cool with that. So like if a woman has two kids already, like you're all good. You're just probably looking for a healthy co-parenting situation, or like do you not care? Like could there be some instability there? And like, like that's not a
I'm
problem for me.
I mean, ideally, a good co-parenting situation, but I mean, that's not 100% in the control of the woman, right? If the whether it's baby father, ex-husband, or whatever is a dickhead, I mean, there's nothing she can do about that. So like, I can't hold that against her that he is not a good person, he's not a good co-parent. Um, I would want her to be a good parent. Um,
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself dating a woman who had kids and was not a good parent. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like that'd be a
yeah.
turn off for me.
I thought I would see more hearts fucking on this screen, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. Like what
Yeah,
you just said
man.
right there was just like, bruh, you don't get that often. So I just want to say appreciate that. And I know that that's true. But yeah, like shout out to you for that, bro. Like it just you got a black man out here who is saying that he wants kids. And also, like if you have kids, like that's not a problem, baby. I don't even care. I'm not even blaming you for the person that you had kids with. If that's a bad situation, sometimes I don't understand people. You know what I'm saying? But like shout out to you for that. Like that's a big statement, my boy.
You know,
Um
I've been on planet Earth for a while. I've seen a lot of things. So
yeah.
I try to give, I want people to give me grace. I'm not a perfect person by any means. I want people to give me grace, but in order to get grace, you have to give it as well. But also, I think like it's like I said, like you can't control who the person becomes after the kids arrive. Like I've seen situations, and it's not just men, but I mean that's what we're talking about right now, where like men that they seemed like, oh, I'm gonna be such a present father, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. Then the kid comes, all of a sudden it switches up, right? Like there's no way you could have known that was coming, right? Now I mean I think at times there's probably signals that maybe were ignored, but I think for the most part, people don't go into a situation thinking they're gonna have kids with somebody that they're gonna end up breaking up with. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had the kids.
So you're giving them grace. You're giving them the benefit of the doubt. You're saying like, listen, I understand the situation that you're in now wasn't what you intended. So I'm gonna look at the highest version of you in this moment.
Right. Especially, but also like our experiences make us the people that we are, right? So whatever experience she went through made her this person that I'm like so attracted to and into. So obviously, I'm sure it would have been better for her to not have had to go through the situations, but it made her this person that I'm really into and want to be with. So it just is what it is.
Someone said he's a good man, Savannah.
I try. I try.
I think that that's therapy. Like we talk about in our culture the importance of that's my dog Ralphie. Ralphie, come here, buddy. Hey, hey, hey. Bear with me, bro. Let me let him out. Shout out to my dog who's the star of the show. You know what I'm saying? Like usually he's chill, but today he's on one. What was I talking about?
Shit, what were we talking about? Somebody in the chat, what were we talking about just now?
Yeah, we were just talking about you're this motherfucker's a solid dude, ladies. Okay.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yes,
There we
yes,
go. We'll end it there. So actually, I did want to end it on like a purposeful note, right? So you are running for Houston City Council, position four,
yes.
for at large position four. So really just wanted to give you an opportunity to just talk about like what that means to you, like why you want to do it, and like maybe ask people for their vote. I don't know. Like you're a politician.
Well, yeah. So I think so. The reason I'm running is I want to serve the city of Houston. You know, I've lived here. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm originally from Delaware, but I've lived in Houston since 2009. Well, with the exception of two mistaken years in Dallas,
Dallas.
I've lived in Houston since 2009. I graduated from the University of Houston 2012. I'm a huge person in my alma mater. Um, that I just want to serve the city. I mean, that's why I became the president of the Bayou City Art Festival. Why I worked to get appointed to the UH Alumni Association board. It's why, I'm running right now because I want to serve the city. And I feel like the best way I can do that right now is as, your council member. And I mean, there's three main things I want to do, right? I call it my like FWS initiative. So F is food. I want to build city cooperated grocery stores and food deserts so that everybody in Houston has access to affordable and healthy groceries. W is water. We have serious water infrastructure issues here in Houston, not just the pipes and drainage that get rid of flooding, but also the pipes that bring water to your house. The fourth largest state in America shouldn't be having as many water outages as we do, right? I tell people all the time, I think you'll appreciate this, seeing as we're on this matchmaking live. I'm a really lucky person, but I tell people I'm unlucky in love and unlucky with water outages. Every apartment I've lived in Houston has had multiple water outages, and it shouldn't be happening in the fourth quarter. I mean, we're about to have the World Cup here, maybe, and it'd be super embarrassing on the world stage if they kick off a game at NRG or the soccer stadium, and they're like on ESPN talking about neither team has access to water. There's a water outage outside the stadium. That can't happen. It shouldn't be
That
happening,
can't happen. Like, dog, it cannot.
and it won't happen with me as your council member. And then shelter. There's too many people in Houston that are being put out of their homes because they can't afford their property taxes. Right, we're talking about people that live on fixed incomes. The elderly, or veterans, the disabled. I'm looking to cut property taxes for those groups. So for Houstonians that are seniors, veterans, the disabled, they wouldn't pay property taxes, and we would shift that burden from those groups to hotels and rental cars. They'd see a 1% tax increase. So effectively, we're shifting the burden from people who have made the city what it is today to people that visit the city, right? So people that built the city to make it so that all these people from around the country and around the world want to come visit Houston and party on Alameda, which is where I
There.
live. That they pay more of the burden than the people that built the city. So that's what I want to do. That's why I want to be your city council member. And that's what I look to do once elected.
I love that. Thank you. I think you'd be a great asset to city council. You got my vote, my brother. And he's looking for a running mate. You know what I'm saying?
I am. I am.
So
What?
listen, hey, if that's you, I just hope that I know that everybody kind of comes, goes, comes back, but I'm gonna upload this to YouTube, and the whole point is for you all to just get uninterrupted time of just meeting another black person, right? Just talking to them, listening to them, like engaging in the conversation, but also, trusting me that I'm gonna ask the questions as relevant. Cause like that's what it's about. Instagram is just a billboard and you really don't get like the messaging behind it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I'm all about trying to find again your matching puzzle piece. And so y'all just got Ope's perspective. Just be real. If you heard something or a lot that really connected with you, reach out. If you heard some stuff that's like not going to line, like just be like, yo, he was a good solid dude, but like not for me. But great guy, but like not my guy. But like it's about compatibility, and he just told you like what it takes to be compatible with him. And I have more ideas based on what he shared of what might work. So we're working together on that. But again, man, just wanted to say thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Really, really value your friendship, and thank you for being bold enough to come here and just say that you're single and talk about what interests you, because I think that it was definitely beneficial. One, I'm not gonna lie. Like I think that was dope, but also it's like it was really nice just having this conversation with you. So I just wanted to give you your flowers and say thank you.
Of course, I appreciate it. It was I got a few phone calls and texts when people saw that I was doing this.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing I wanted to show is I'm a regular person, right? So I mean, yeah, I'm on boards, I'm running for office, but I'm still a regular person that just wants love like anybody else.
My man. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you, Obes. And yeah, catch us on Thursday. We have another World Match Live that I'm really excited about. Maybe Ralphie makes an appearance too. Who knows? We'll see. All right. All right, y'all. Thank y'all. Appreciate you, Obes.
So yeah.
Peace.